What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Indeficient, and this is the Inicio SMP. Start off today's episode, I'm standing over here at World Spawn, and I wasn't even sure I was going to make these episodes. I was going to wait until I started off a fresh season so I could give you guys the full sort of survival guide playthrough sort of thing. But you know what? I still got some more plans in this world, and before we restart, I figure, why not? So we're about a year into the world at this point, and what have we accomplished?
I thought you'd never ask.
On day one of the server, I made my way across the mountain range and collected up as much iron and coal as I could before going down below. On day two of the server, as I was mining for diamonds, I stumbled upon a skeleton spawner and promptly turned that into our first starter farm. After some serious grinding for materials, we put together our starter house, I guess you could call it, which eventually turned into our shop here. Down in the basement below the starter house, we have a few micro farms, including kelp, sugarcane, cactus, and a micro farm for crops. Down the hole over here, we have our starter slime farm. Since then, we've expanded out a little bit more, added some pumpkins and melons, and I also had the nether wart in here from the beginning, but we just recently added the sheep. The bottom floor of the house is our bookstore. Second floor of the house is our armor trim shop. Third floor of the house used to be where we actually had our storage system and lived for the good majority of the season until we moved out to our mega base, and I've since turned this into another shop. There's also a fourth floor, technically, but it's empty. And as I was busy working on the starter home, my good pal and base mate, AxeJC, was out here working on this beauty you see here. So we've got our mob farm, gold farm, iron farm, and a tree farm, all built into one. The next most important thing for any technical server is, of course, tridents. So we've got our trident farm right here beside our mob farm. And this over here is our janky little trading hall. Pretty straightforward, just to get the basic tools and enchantments for the beginning and get a bookstore open as soon as possible. So I built this before I even finished off on the starter house. I kind of worked on the two of them in tandem. Down below we have a zombie spawner, and of course that spawns the iron golems, and all in all it used to produce nice discounts, but that broke, so what are you gonna do? At that point, the next necessity for me was to get out into the end and go get wings for everybody on the server, and shulkers for that matter. So before we ever defeated the Ender Dragon, I just made a little flying machine and headed out to the End Islands and went and collected up some elytras, built a little shulker farm out in the End Islands, and I would just put everything in an Ender chest and take the good old-fashioned trip into the void to get home. Eventually we did take on the Ender Dragon, and now we can make our way to and from freely, but at the beginning, I wanted to get all this done, which I'm out. Need to do some stalking. This over here was a fun one, or at least I think it's pretty fun. Axe made this guy over here, and down below we have a traditional sort of chicken cooker farm, and then I just put in, dropper elevator to bring up all the items from it. Nice and tucked away right underneath the stairs to our chicken coop. Of course, every nice house needs a portal, so I put in this cool little geode portal, which I ended up stealing all the resources for this from a geode that Julie had marked, and I completely was oblivious and stole all the stuff, but it's okay, I made up for that later. Down here in this little natural cave that was already here, I just decided to do a little bit of decorating. It was just a standard dripstone cave before, so I did a little bit of decorating and turned that into our basic farm for the sniffers. And down the stairs here, I had plans to continue, but yeah, there's an ancient city right there, so I ended up raiding that, but yeah, not building down there. And at this point in the world, it was time to find a real mega base location. So venturing into the Nether, made myself a nice little path, which eventually ended up turning into a very, very wide open area. This is our Nether. We do have plans. We're just, slow going, trying to clear out all the space, and then we're gonna do some sort of like map art on the ground. Quick detour. This is our collection of big-headed mobs. And also some rare ones. And some random ones. Over in the Mega Base location, Axe was the first one to strike with a farm. So he built a nice little honey farm for us over here, and our original portal was right in this location. I was meanwhile busy constructing what you see here before you, which is my storage system. A modified version of the minecart storage system designed by Mad Hatter. Nice and tucked away under the Mega Base location, I had a moss farm from Zolson that unfortunately broke, as well as 2 tree farms, all feeding into my gas blaster. And yeah, eventually I just gave up on the gas blaster in favor of Mr. Mayweather you see down here. Next project for me was this bamboo farm you see here before you. I had built up... Well, it's the one you've seen in my tutorial, so it's hidden away in here. And down below I have many more layers. Next up was pumpkins and melons, and Axe built this up in the sky for me, because I had plans to build an airship, which is the one you see here before you. I've got plans to add more details, but it came together nicely. The next 2 projects I worked on was the dock you see here and the giant portal here behind it. And then finally I got to work on the actual structure over above quite a bit later. I honestly just finished that recently, and it's not even finished. I still got to go back and detail it. One of my favorite things about this portal design is the fact that it's actually functional in some regard. So down in below here you'll find our iron farm, pumping away as usual. Got one guy up here so that you can keep an eye on the beds and keep them all linked, and also to give me some carrots. Down below we've got a skeleton spawner, which I've hooked up into our trident killer. And of course, can't be a redstoner without a trading hall for redstone. Next up, Axe and I worked together on building this. Axe built out most of the farm itself, and I just did the storage for this guy. Just your classic raid farm, simple one from Silent Whisperer. And then I just did a custom little storage job. Next up, I believe it was this little farm that was actually down below here originally. So this one was built by Hyph, the server owner, and Julie, I believe. From there, Axe got to work, well, doing what Axe does, and just grinding it out, apparently. Making this massive mob farm that you see here. Basically just to test, just out of curiosity, see how good a passive mob farm with no trident killers is. They suck. It was about this time that I did my initial design for the 2-in-1 mud farm, concrete farm. I've done a tutorial here for. This was version 1, so overcomplicated. And just around the corner, everybody needs a gold farm, so we put together 3 portals tucked away in the mountainside. And another couple of Axe designs or Axe builds. We've got our crop farm over here, which I still need to put a factory around. And then over on this side, we have our turtle farm, which I'm planning to put, what do you call it? Like a lighthouse over top of that. Lots of work to do. This little farm over here is our coral farm. I'm planning to put like a little tugboat or something like that around this eventually. And then we get on to some of the crazier ones that Axe has been up to. I think Angel came over and was helping out with this, a couple of the other members of our server. Just backing up a little bit. It's a creeper farm here. This one is the Bantam farm. Over here, Axe built the shulker sandwich from Groover Guy. And then down below, me and him worked on just a real basic coarse fruit farm. And loading all of these dispensers, fun fact, is the motivation for me coming up with the idea of using snowballs with never having to reload or worry about these dispensers ever again in my entire life. Of course, with all the copper that I use, gotta have a copper farm. So over here is our extremely slow copper farm that really just acts as a ridiculously overpowered trident farm. But that's fine, it does produce copper. This craziness over here is the project me and old Rusty worked on together, and this is our Shroom Light farm with 10 ghasts, 5 gas blasters, all to automate shroom lights, and it's absolutely one of my favorite things on the entire server. Oh, and I almost forgot. Angel and Axe put together a zero-tick wool farm over here from Navy Nexus. This is the sugarcane farm that Axe and Hive put together for me, which is absolutely just hilarious and fun to watch. And I think this guy's name is, Dunga. I love it. We have a little TNT, a Elytra launcher over here. And then, secret door, maybe? It's a thing. Over here is our music disc farm. So we've got our skeleton in there, and there's a section where you stand and place the TNT, and we get all the music discs you could ever want. This is my little totem shop that I threw together. So it's just a cute little lion statue, and then underneath I've just got an automated redstone system so that you put one diamond in, and it gives you 9 totems back. And out in the Nether we have a few more farms. First up I'll show you here is for the frog lights. Actually had one of those blocked off because getting way too many of those and I need more of the others. Down underneath you just got obviously classic setup with the frogs. And then a little further out in the Nether we have skeleton farm. So this one's actually designed by Old Rusty, and then I put it together here on the server. And I'm actually going to be putting out a tutorial for this pretty soon. This thing's wild, by the way. Produces an entire stack of bones every single minute. 1 minute, 1 stack of bones. It's so good. Over here is my wither skeleton farm, so just taking advantage of a few different spots. Those two were backed by a couple, so I just kind of threw a few blocks to push them forwards. Using the mop conveyor style from Groova Guy. Yeah, big fan. It actually works pretty well. And last but not least, we have the most recent project that I just finished and has been the absolute bane of my existence. I made an 8x hopper speed smelting system here, which is phenomenal. Works like a charm, except that I decided to fuel it with the bamboo from next door, and that was a horrible mistake. So I need to redesign the whole thing. It works, but unfortunately it takes like 2 minutes to smelt a double chest, and then you have to AFK for like 20 minutes so that enough bamboo can come back into the storage so that it doesn't break the next time you use it. Yeah. Oh, and then the last thing I wanted to show off is how I made up to Julie for stealing her geode early in the season. I made her a nice tree geode thing. Yeah, I think it came together pretty good. In terms of plans, I think the next thing I want to start doing is finishing off with some details. So all around here, I want to put in some roads. I want to put a dock, the retaining wall. I want to find a way to connect that all the way up into here. Finish off a build around this guy. I want to put in, what do you call it? Shipyard. Something that looks like it's, down here in the bottom, some cranes on the sides, like it's building the airships. Sort of over in this area. This is the vision I have. There's a lot of work to get done around here, but one of my favorite projects I'm working on, this bad boy. This right here is a 3-chunk slime farm up above, and then this is going to be our wither cage. Well, the bedrock is going to hold the wither in place. And then a whole bunch of waterlogged blocks are going to make sure that the wither shooting out at the slimes doesn't cause any damage around the area. And we're just about ready to put in our withers, actually. So we've got it all blocked off and ready to go. Sort of placed in where I'm going to put the bedrock. Yeah, it's basically ready. I just got to coordinate with Ant, and me and him are going to do this together. Another member of the server. Alright guys, I think that's going to do it for today. Let me know in the comments what you want to see in the next episode. You more interested in seeing my process in building? Do you want to get more into the redstone on some of my builds here and see, up close and personal what's going on? You want to take more of a tour around the server and see what everyone else is doing? Old Rusty, for instance, is based right behind me. You can kind of see over my one shoulder there. So there's lots going on. Lots more to show off. So yeah, let me know what you guys are interested in seeing next. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.